Hey, how's it going, guys? My name's Nick. I'm a co-founder at Dial Technologies, and today I have an exciting demo for you to show you the Luma to Attio integration that we built. Without further ado, I'll let the demo speak for itself. Let's get into it. So this is the homepage of the app as of right now. This is super MVP, and so any feedback you have, please reach out. But I'm just going to go ahead and create an account here by clicking sign up. And once you sign up, you'll be taken to this dashboard here. Right now we'll show there's 0 events, 0 attendees, and it gives you a little bit of get starting here. So what we're going to do is click on settings here. We can click on connect Luma. We need the API key and the calendar ID. So if we go to Luma here, click on the calendar you want to connect. And then if you click on settings and you go to developer, you can click here to get the API key. And that API key is going to go in here. And then I can click here to get the calendar ID and put that into Attio as well. So now that I have the API key and calendar key in here, I can click connect Luma. And we'll go back to Luma. I just want to show you something here. So you can see here, I haven't refreshed my page yet, but they're showing that there's no webhooks. If I just refresh this, you'll see now there is a webhook that's active and it's to this platform. And if I click on this, you'll see here's event created, event updated, guest registered, guest updated. So as this webhook sends to our platform, we would update that in the platform as well as in Attio. So if I go to the events here, you'll see I have a couple of past events here. So I have 3 past events and no upcoming events. And so I'm going to show you how we can sync these attendees as well as the events that have already happened. So you'll see here we've got hosted, 1 person attended this event, and then if I click into this one, hosted, and we have a couple people that have registered on these actual events. So if I click in here, you should be able to go into manage, registration, and guests. You can see there's 2 people here that have registered. These are obviously fake accounts. One's going, one's invited, but this is just to show you how this data sync actually works. So back in here, we've got Luma connected. I can sync the events, but what I want to do first is go and connect my Attio. So if I jump over to Attio, I'll show you a couple of things in there. So we're in Attio. You'll notice here we have no events record in terms of our custom objects here. And then, we have obviously people in here. And so some of the accounts of the attendees are the people that live here in our Attio. If they weren't in there and you added someone, then it would also get created in Attio. So we'll just do a little demo of this. If I go to the apps and integrations, you search Luma, you can see this Luma event, this Luma app here. It hasn't been installed yet. So I'm just going to go back to our platform. And then first thing I'm going to do is connect an Attio account. And this is going to go through the OAuth process. And so this is the account I want to connect to. I will confirm this. And now it's been connected. If I go back to Attio now, and I'll go to the apps and integrations, and then again here I'll search Luma, you can see now that it's been installed and there is a connection here for this OAuth connection. So the next step is we need to do this connection, and this is essentially an API key. This API key we can generate here in the platform. We'll click on generate API key, and then we can click copy here. And back in Attio, we can paste this API key in here and add that connection. The reason that we're using this is just for security purposes to kind of lock down some of the endpoints that are being used. All right, now we can go back. Again, you can see that we don't have an events object in here. If you had an events object already, we could map that. So I'll show you how we can do that in the platform. So let's jump back over to the platform there. Okay, so in the platform here, you'll see here, basically it's saying that the events object is missing. If you click switch mode, you could do advanced, which basically means use your own object. In this case, we're going to do simple recommended. If I do edit configuration, there's no configuration here. It's basically saying it's not been created. So we'll go back and we'll click on configure and create. So if I go over to Attio here, you'll see now I have this events object. I'll just click into there and create a new view. And then we can add some different columns. So invited guests is a relation to people, signed up guests is a relation to people, as well as declined guest is a relation to people. And then there's other things like what is the event name, what is the start date, what is the end date, what is the event URL, what is the location, things like that. So we have this little view set up here. Again, there's no data in here. So let's go back to the platform and sync this initial data. Great, so we're back in the platform. Just to quickly show you, you can click on edit configuration, and you can select which attributes based off of the field slugs you want. And then you've got these relationships that were added as well. If you wanted to use your own object, that's where you would select change configuration, advanced. And then when you configure field mapping, it would actually pull in your objects here, and you could select the event object, obviously, or whatever it's called. But then you would have to map these specific fields because it needs to know where to push the information. All right, and so now I can click sync events, and you should see the 3 old events come in. Here's the attendees that are syncing, and this runs in the background. And so if you've got hundreds of attendees, this will run and essentially batch the jobs. If I just refresh here, you'll see that one's pending, 2 are processing. Let me jump over to Attio so we can see those coming in. So this is in Attio. We've got the 3 events. We've got everyone coming into the invite, and then people coming into the signed up guests. You'll notice if I just expand this a little bit here, the people that are in signed up are not in invited because they've RSVP'd and said essentially yes. And then anyone that did decline would show up here in the declined. Or if you put them on a wait list and you basically decline them, then they would go to the declined here as well. And so if I go to one of these people and show you the attributes here, you can see that we've got events invited to, events attended, events declined, and then this is the event ID there. Something that we can't do programmatically but is recommended is to come in here and manage the object, go to appearance, and then change the record text to the event name. Doing that simply will make these actually show you the event name, which is corresponding to what's actually in Luma, instead of having that record ID show there. And that's a much better experience, so that way when you come in here and you're looking, you can see, oh, this event attended is not a random UUID, but it's actually the name of the event. You could click onto that event and then come in here and see, here's all the values of what was synced from Luma. And then if you go back to Luma and we created a new event, so let's just come into the events here. We'll create a new event for YouTube demo. Again, we can set the start and end date here, add all of this information. We can create the event. Now that this event is created, we go to our platform, we refresh. You can see these have already completed. These are the 3 events that were historically there. And then this new event for YouTube demo is being synced. You can see that now it is completed. So we'll go over to Attio. We'll go to events, and you'll see test event is now, test event for YouTube demo is now in here. Obviously there's no guests because we haven't added any guests yet. And so yeah, that's essentially the extent of the integration. There's some other small things in here, like you can refresh a single event. You could sync all new events in here, which would effectively refresh all of your attendees and all of your events. And we also want to add custom fields so that those can link into Attio. Something else that we want to do is, if you've got an event like this, like the new YouTube demo event, we want to be able to go to people or companies or anywhere really and be able to select people and say invite to new event for YouTube demo, and then actually have that send to the platform, which effectively will send to the Luma API to add those people as invitees. And then when they are invited, they will obviously sync back in here. And then if they have signed up or declined, they would sync in there as well. So that's all we have for a demo. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any feedback or if you are interested, you can find more information in the description down below. We would love to hear any feedback you have. You can put that down in the comments below, or you can reach out to us directly. That's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.